Hello and welcome to the Artificial DM. Here are a brief 5 hot takes about different aspects about D&D 5e rules as written. These are not in order of importance, just in order of what popped into my head first. Be sure to bash me in the comments on all the ways I am wrong. First off, an honorable mention. I don't understand how characters can completely understand not only one language, but a multitude of different languages at level 1. I would understand if they just knew the spoken language or the written language, but no, it's just blammo, you know it all. It goes to show that I must be a -3 village idiot, because I still am floundering in attempting to speak the Americanese language. This point had me so frustrated, I started working on an entire script for a new video about that. Number 1. Humans and alignment charts. It could be due to my inexperience, however, I don't understand why at level 1 to 3, the players are chasing down a bunch of green and red skin boys and mowing down their nest in their little hidey holes. Why is it that anytime there is an evil human, generally they happen to be a guy cracked out on magic, a high level NPC, or a king? You hardly ever encounter evil humans at lower levels. Couldn't there be an innkeeper who murders travelers to his establishment, and once he is cornered and answers the question of, "Why'd you done it?" he just laughs and says, "Because it's fun." Showing the duality of man in your campaigns could make for an interesting story. Your adventurers are hired by the local village mayor to go and slay goblins who have been terrorizing the whole town. As the party goes about their task, they can't help but notice the amount of improvised weapons these goblins are using. Scythes, wood axes, kitchen knives. It isn't until about halfway into the goblin cave or encampment that they might notice a sign written in crudely chiseled common, 1 copper a stack, that hangs on the back of a small hand-pulled cart half full of wood. One of the hastily abandoned huts has a lumpy, human-looking rag doll left behind in a spilled flour bag. After completing the task, the adventurers can't help but notice the attempts at a garden planted outside of the goblin village. Maybe the party is able to deduce that these goblins weren't necessarily terrorizing the village, but the mayor might be a racist and wanted the goblins to leave. Number 2. Combat is slow. I don't think this is a hot take and more of an actual fact about the game. Sure, you can speed it up by changing different mechanics, but I don't want to go too much into that because I don't have enough experience to beneficially change it. You have no idea how many times I have told a player to roll for a hit, and after a success, had them roll for damage. The clack-clack rocks are one of the best parts of the game. However, it is not enjoyable to anybody else around the table to have to wait for that player to see how much damage is done. To fix this, I say if it is your turn for combat, have your damage dice on a digital roller, if your DM allows it that is, and a d20 both ready. Then go ahead and roll both at once when the DM calls for it. If it hit, cool, then tell the DM the damage. If you miss, well shucks. Finish your turn's movement and bonus action and pass to the next player. I know there are other factors that can make combat slow, it's just a point I see that could speed up the game. Note, if your DM does not allow digital rollers, use a dice tray and some cups. Everyone gets their own cup like it's bring your own Yahtzee night, and whenever it is that player's turn, pass the dice tray. Number 3. Weapons and armor. I believe that weapons and armor should get damaged as they are used. You can't assemble the Sarah Godsword and smite all who live with it and sell it at the grand exchange for profit. I mean, you can, but players should repair their items, or have them even break every once in a while. Personally, I say that any hit against a player or enemy that is equal to the AC or 1 point below AC, it should be a glancing blow. I don't like what people have homebrewed on Reddit or D&D Beyond, where a glancing blow deals half damage, but instead, I would like to redefine glancing blows by giving armor and weapons an integrity. As the item's integrity depletes, players would either need to upgrade or take their items in for repair. Otherwise, if they ignore the strain put on their gear, there might be a time when a shoulder buckle snaps, or a blade has been worn blunt. Obviously, the different items and their materials would determine their durability, but it would be an easy way for the players to remember to upgrade their own gear, instead of tossing it out as soon as they see a new shiny. Plus it makes them spend their gold. In order to implement this effectively without making the game impossible, I would want to bounce the ideas around with some of the other creative minds who have more experience. But let me know what you think of rebranding the glancing blow down in the comments below. Number 4. Health and healing. When a player gets shot and stabbed and spells all over, they instantly feel okay with the use of magic. Dope. But the same is even true if a player takes a long rest? What? Sure, I can see some minor injuries being shaken off or even ignored to help make things simplistic, but if a character takes some heavy damage, I say that they should go ahead and need either a very long rest or some magical means of healing to ensure that they will make it through the injury okay. I know, this is probably one of my worst views on the game. As a player, you can't help but get into terrible dangers and receive violent injuries. You must be able to rest up and heal so you can continue playing. I say that during a long rest, medicine checks should be involved, or something akin to a certain damage type can cause long-term effect if you fail 2 or more death saves. Or, players are able to regain those hit points and heal from a long rest. However, they might suffer a long-term injury or scarring if they do not receive any form of magical healing within a certain time frame after the damage is done. For example, if a player is stabbed in the leg and takes 8 points of damage and then decides to just use a long rest, then they are going to have a massive scar after the long rest. I'd say they have to make a constitution throw to see if the wound has been healing well or does it look infected. The only reason I view the healing with a long rest method as messed up is because rules as written, a long rest is only 8 hours of time. I don't know about you, but if I received an arrow to the knee, I would probably give up adventuring after sleeping for 8 hours, not jump up and continue as if nothing happened. Maybe I'm being a little too harsh in this area, especially with the amount of damage that some players are able to take even in just one round. Number 5, D&D Beyond. So this isn't about the mechanics of D&D 5e, but more about D&D Beyond and other places that D&D books can be purchased for digital content. I get it. Wizards of the Coast wants to make as much coin as they possibly can. However, if they want people to actually use any of their digital products, then they should go ahead and sell the PDFs and other digital products for cheaper than what they charge for the physical copies. It is annoying to go and attempt to use the character creation available on D&D Beyond, and then finding out that a feat or background or other ability is not available to you because you need to buy that book! To which I say, I already own the book! I'm not saying that they should give away a digital copy with the physical book, but sell the digital copy of the books at a discounted rate. I would say half price, but this is Wizards of the Coast that we are talking about. They would never be willing to do that. Or if they made it part of the subscription service, where you get access to at least the Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master Guide, and Monster Manual. Instead, you have to purchase every single book if you want to use those tools optimally, or you have to go and punch it in all manually as if it was homebrew. Alright, that's the end of the top 5. I did come up with some other things to complain about, but some of them will be full videos, and so I decided to cut back on the list. A few examples of things to look forward to would be the language video, potions and poisons, fluid combat, the trash heap of alignment charts, and a few other things that had me typing more than reasonable. Are any of these points that I talked about things that you agree with? Or do you believe I am a total idiot who doesn't know what they are saying? Have an idea that is a better compromise, an example of a homebrew fix, or an example of other RPGs that have a better mechanic for the points I grumbled about? If so, please let me know down in the comments below. Once again, I cannot express my thanks and gratitude to all of you who watch, and especially all of you inspired subscribers. I feel like this was a better way to celebrate 2,000 subscribers than the cantrip video that I did, because I really didn't get into any of my opinions in that video. Be sure to tune in when I get into an in-depth view on my thoughts about D&D 5e languages, and it is a video I'm sure you'll at least find interesting. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, hope you feel inspired.